Welcome to Creating from the Heart, the Artistry of Living. I'm Suzy Vance, and I'm here with Mike Bowen. I've known him for a very long time. We're sitting in a coffee shop he and his wife created called
Lakeshore Coffee, 25 years ago, as a matter
Oh
of
my
fact.
God, 25 years.
Yeah, it's amazing,
Woo!
isn't it? Is that crazy or what?
That is totally nuts. So, how did you morph into the many different things that you did? Did you think when you were a kid you were going to do any of them?
No. I mean, I had no idea. I knew that as I was growing up, my interests always, I was like a shotgun. It was always going everywhere, right? And I wanted to do everything all at once, and I couldn't do it. So
you learned that?
Yeah, the hard way. I did, unfortunately. But every time I saw something new I hadn't done, I had to do it. And whether it was, work was work, and I was always good at it, so I didn't worry about it too much. I went where I went, did what I did, but it was everything else around me. If I wanted to cook or learn to ride a bicycle competitively, all these different things I wanted to do. So I just went out and started doing them. So I had my brother-in-law was telling my wife one day that, Mike should really get a hobby. And Tina tells me this, right? So I say, well, I do have a hobby. And she goes, what's that? I said, hobbies. They're all my hobby, so I enjoy doing these things. And it sounds like I can't focus on any one thing, but the fact of the matter is I do focus on all of them. Just pick one at a time.
Yes, and you do one day and another.
Exactly. Like, tomorrow I'll be doing some French cooking, because I love to cook. Then next week maybe Italian, and then after that maybe we're going to go to a museum or just something different every single day. So
when I first met you,
yep,
a long time ago, I think you were talking about reforming the perception of who you were and what you'd done,
right,
because you didn't complete college,
right,
but you became a major success.
Right.
And one of the things that I don't know how you got into that first job. How did you do that?
The very first job?
Yeah, let's talk about that one.
Oh, geez, that was a long time ago. I was married and a baby was on the way, and I was broke, basically.
You were broke?
I was broke. So,
okay.
So I was running a shoe store out in Illinois.
Yes.
And my brother-in-law here in East Chicago area had a job for me working at an oil refinery, or at a waste oil processing plant. And so he said, I can get you a job there. It pays really well. It was like $120 a week. It was a lot of money back then. and I said, I'm in.
Okay.
And 1 year later, I started out as an operator, and then I became the plant manager. And it just kept going from there. It just stayed in the same career, or in the same industry basically,
right,
but I evolved through a industry that was evolving as well, too.
Right.
So
you were on the cutting edge of what I would call environmental concerns.
Exactly, yeah. EPA was really a RCRA, which is Resource Conservation and Recovery Act for haz waste, was authorized in '72. I started in '76.
Wow.
So the industry just changed daily, and companies opened and closed, and people had a perception of me after a few years of doing this that I was a job jumper, because if you remember my resume, it was like 10 pages long.
Right. And we had to change that.
We had to change that. It was bad. It was really bad. People look at me.
It's so interesting that people look at stuff like that and they think that's bad news.
Yeah, right.
When actually, if you were never fired from things like that, it turns out to be an asset.
Right, absolutely. And it has, because I've learned everything from waste oil processing to hazardous waste to environmental cleanups, all the things involved in the environmental industry. I've done them all. And I've turned that into an asset in terms of not job jumping, because the industry evolved over the course of time.
Right.
companies merged, companies shut down, so everybody was job jumping. I mean, you could meet at the annual Hazardous Waste Conference and people had T-shirts on of every place they worked the last 5 years, you know. And it was kind of just a joke for everybody at the time. But
And your last stop was waste management,
waste
if
management,
I remember.
yeah, that's correct. I just retired a year ago. So,
Yay!
Yeah, thank God.
So now you get to do all those hobbies.
All those hobbies are now coming out, so so I'm on a roll right now. Other than I have to fix stuff at the condo now and then, but other than that, I'm going. You know.
This is amazing.
Yeah.
So do you have any piece of advice for that young man who's like you were
Yeah.
when you were in high school and when you decided, for example, not to stay in college? I'm not saying that's a bad thing. For some people, it's a really good thing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of industry studies on that, especially in Wisconsin. We can talk offline about that. I'll tell you about it.
Okay.
But, you know, when I was in high school, all I wanted to do was get out of high school and get into college and get out and go to work. And because I wanted to work. I wanted to be in business. I would say that if I had to do it over again, I would probably skip college and not go. I went in as a psychology, socioanthropology, major, minor. What's that going to do for me, right? It did a lot for me, trust me. I learned to interact with people very well doing that. However, there was nothing there for me. I wasn't.
It wasn't an end in itself.
No, it wasn't. It was just something to pass through to move on to the next thing. So I would say to anybody in high school thinking about going out there to work, you know, think about what you really want to do. You want to go in the trades, go in the trades. You want to just go into business, school's not going to do a lot for you. I'm going to tell you, you're going to learn it in a business someplace. So think about a career path that takes you in the direction that you want to go and go in that direction. And that 4 years and that $250,000 that you'll save is a big deal.
So your path led you into a new industry.
Yep.
And into an environmental thing where, as you said, things were changing every day. And I suspect in some ways that's what kept your interest.
Yeah, it has actually, because I get very bored with doing the same thing over and over again. So it was.
You're a gold on the four colors, true colors system.
Yeah.
You're a person who has
Yeah.
a new idea every 5 minutes and
Pretty
forget
much.
the plan.
Yeah, go on to the next thing. Just keep
Right.
moving. The plan is no plan, right? That's the plan.
I know you well.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. But yeah, I mean, it's. I think doing the same thing over and over again, for some people, that's what they like.
That's right.
You get in a factory, or you get in a career path. Just doing this, there's a comfort level there, doing the same thing over and over again.
Right.
My comfort level is doing different things all the time and being challenged by them every single time. I mean, I woke up one day, I was a waste oil processing plant operator. I didn't know which way to turn a valve to open it, for God's sakes, you know. I just look at it and go, what do I do? And a year later, I'm running the whole place. I invented a process to re-refine a specific type of oil to be used in a very expensive application at the steel mills. And it was like, this was exciting. And then after 2 years, I got bored with it. And I said, I got to move on, you know. And so fortunately, my boss helped me because he left and started a company. I went to work with him, and then I just kept evolving after that. So there's a lot of opportunities out there in a career if you get into it and stay in it. And there's a lot of paths inside that career that was exciting for me. So.
Well, I'm so glad to talk to you and so glad that you have all this insight, and it's not a bad thing to change your mind.
No, it's not. I think it's a great thing to change your mind.
Yes.
So keep doing it, and it's a lot more fun, really. I
And
think.
what's yours will come to you. That's all.
Yeah,
You have
exactly.
to stay open and curious.
That's right. Exactly right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Hope you've enjoyed this.
Thank you.
Mike
I have.
Bowen.
Nice to see you again, Suzy.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Creating from the heart, the artistry of living. Thank you. See you again.
See you later.